Okay, this is the algebra quiz that you guys just took. I'm going to create an answer key so that you guys could look at what your answers were and find out what you did wrong. Question number 1, if you take a look, we're adding. And if we're adding, we're looking for like terms. Each and every term has an x squared in it, so you can add it. When you're adding like terms, the term or the variable piece itself always stays the same. I just have to add the numbers in front. So my new problem now is 8 plus, that's a negative 1, plus a negative 12 plus 2. And then it'll be x squared. So this is 7. 7 minus 12 is a negative 5. Negative 5 plus 2 is a negative 3. So negative 3x squared. Question number 2. Question number 2, we start inside, and I have an 8a and a 6b, but they're unlike terms, so I can't add them. So now I go and I distribute. The number outside is multiplying both pieces inside, so it's a negative 2 times 8a, that's a negative 16a, and then a negative 2 times 6, that's a minus 12b. So the answer, negative 16a minus 12b. Question number 3, we're looking to simplify. We're multiplying monomials. So when we're multiplying monomials, the rule is multiply what you can. So we're doing the numbers. They don't have to be like terms now. 3 times negative 4 times 5. So 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Negative 12 times 5 is negative 60. S times s squared. Remember, s has an exponent of an exponent of 1. So s to the first times s to the second. Add the exponents. That's s cubed. And then t to the first times t to the first is t squared. So final answer, minus 60 s cubed t squared. Move down to this next one, number 4. We're simplifying. We have a polynomial and a polynomial, but we're adding. So what happens is it means you can ignore the parentheses and just write down all of the terms that you see. And then you're going to combine like terms. I have an x squared and x squared, so I have 7 minus 3. That's 4x squared. I have a minus 5x and a minus 3x. That's minus 8x. And I have a plus 4 and a plus 8. That's plus 12. That's your final answer. We move to question number 5. And question number 5, again, we're multiplying monomials, so multiply the things that you can. I'm going to multiply the numbers together. So it's a negative 6 times a negative 3. And then I'm going to multiply the variables together. That's x to the 4th times x cubed. When I multiply the numbers together, I get a positive 18. When I multiply the variables together, I get x, and I add the exponents. So 18x to the 7th power. Number 6, we're simplifying and we're subtracting. So the rule here is to remember that that's a negative 1 in front. So I'm going to rewrite the first polynomial without parentheses, and I'm going to distribute the negative 1 through. Negative 1 times 6x is a negative 6x. Negative 1 times a negative 5 is a positive 5. I'm then going to combine my like terms. 5x minus 6x is a negative x, and 3 plus 5 is a positive 8. Question number 7 was a definite homework problem. So now what we're going to do is we take a look. We're adding in front of this bracket, which is another way of writing a parentheses. So since we're adding in front of it, the bracket really doesn't mean anything. Plus, so I'm just, it's 9d. And then I have a set of parentheses with a plus in front of it. If that's the case, again, you're adding, so the parentheses become meaningless. It's just to separate, to show you that you have a bunch of terms and polynomials being added together. Now what we're going to do is combine like terms. I have this d squared and a minus 4d squared. That's minus 3d squared. And then I have a 9d and no other d terms, so plus 9d. And then I have a positive 2. And that's your final answer. All right, move on to question number 8. Question number 8, one of the tougher questions. We're going to take this term and multiply it by, it's multiplying a poly by a monomial. We're going to do that. So writing it out, it's 6x squared y. Then that has to multiply 2x cubed y squared. And then we're going to take minus the 6x squared y and multiply that by 3x to the 4th. So we have 6 times 2 is 12, x to the 5th by adding those exponents. y to the third, and then a minus times a plus is a minus. 6 times 3 is 18, x to the sixth, and then y. That's your final answer here. We move on to question 8 from the quiz. Question 8. Sorry, where's our question 9? There it is. So question 9, we have a polynomial, and it's subtracting, or a polynomial means subtracted from a polynomial. The first polynomial, you can forget about the parentheses, just rewrite it. The second polynomial, remember, there's a negative 1 in front, which means everything is going to look the same in here. You're just going to change its sign. Minus 3h squared minus h minus 3. And then combine like terms. 5h squared minus 3h squared. That's a positive 2h squared. And we're done with those two terms. I have a plus 4h and a minus h. That's plus 3h. And I'm done with those two terms. Then I have 8 and a minus 3. That's plus 5. All right, move on to question 10. Now I have polynomials being added and subtracted. So this polynomial, if there's nothing in front, it's a positive. So since it's a positive, I can simply drop the sign. All right. Then plus the second polynomial, well, there's a plus in front, so the parentheses actually become meaningless. So plus x squared plus 4x plus 4, so nothing inside changes. And then I get to the last polynomial, and there's a minus in front of it. So you got to put that minus 1, and then basically change the signs of everything inside. So minus 2x plus 3. And it looks pretty long, but now we're looking for like terms. 5x squared, I'm searching for another x squared term. There it is. That's 6x squared. And then you can just cross those terms out. Then I have an x, and an x. 3x and 4x is 7x, minus 2x is plus 5x. And I'm done with those three terms. The only thing I have left now is a plus 4 and a plus 3. That's going to be plus 7. Move down to question number 11. It's now multiple choice. We did better at the multiple choices because we saw some of the answers in front of us. But again, you have 7d times 2d minus 5d squared. So this 7d is going to multiply the first term and multiply the second term. And again, when you're multiplying those two terms, it looks like this. 7d, negative 7d times 2d, and then I'll use the sign here, minus a negative 7d times 5d squared. So multiplying what you can, that's a minus 14. D times d is d squared. I see two negatives, which means it's going to be a positive. 7 times 5 is 35, and d times d squared is d cubed. So now I search for that choice. I'm looking for 14d squared plus 35d cubed. So I get 14d squared minus 14d squared minus 14d squared plus 35d cubed. That's choice 4. Number 12, again, multiplying monomials. Multiply what you can. AB times 7AB. So multiplying what I can, I'm going to have a 7 times a 1 in front. I'm going to have A times A, which is A squared. And I'm going to have B times B, which is B squared. Remember, the exponents on here are all 1 since they're not there. So 7A squared B squared, that's going to be choice 1. Move up to question 13. And question 13 says we're taking negative 6x squared times, which means we're multiplying it by 3x to the 4th. When you're multiplying, again, reminder, you don't have to have like terms, and multiply what you can. The numbers, when you multiply them together, negative 18. The variables, when you multiply them together, x times x will always give you an x. You just add the exponents. So negative 18x to the 6th, and that's choice 1. Number 14, to simplify the expression 8 plus 6 times 3n, so 8 plus 6 times 3n, which operation is performed first? Well, this is where you take a look at PEMDAS. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to try to do the parentheses, but the only thing in parentheses is a 3n, so we can't do anything there. There are no exponents. So now we get down to multiplication. So what's the multiplication that you see? That's right here. So the first thing we're going to have to do is take 6 and multiply it by 3n. That's choice 3. Okay, that's right there. And number 15, last question before the bonus. What is the area of a rectangle whose length is 5x and whose width is? So we can draw this just to see it. So we have a length of 5xy, and we'll have a width of 2x squared plus 4xy plus y squared. And according to what is written up here, the area of a rectangle is length times width. So I simply take the width, and I'm going to multiply it by the length. So I'm going to do it in pieces. It's that times that, so it's going to be 10, 2 times 5. X times x squared is x cubed, because there's a 1 up here. And then y, there's no y here, so we're just going to kind of paste that y on. Then plus, I get 5 times 4, that's 20. And I get x times x is x squared, and y times y is y squared. Plus 5 times, there's a 1 in front of here, that's 5. Okay, so we just did that. Now we're working on this. X, there's no x here, so paste it on. Y times y squared is y cubed. Alright, so your final answer is right here. Alright, and then the last question. And then the last question just is your bonus, and it takes a look at question 15 and simply wants you to find the perimeter of it. We talked about it in class, so I didn't define perimeter, and it was a bonus just in case you forgot, so it's just plus. Well, perimeter is, if I go back up to this one, that means that this side is a 5xy, and this length is 2x squared plus 4xy plus y squared. So the definition of perimeter is to add up all the sides. So I have a 5xy. I'm going to add that to 2x squared plus 4xy plus y squared. So that's this side and this side. Now I'm going to add to that side plus 5xy plus, and then that side 2x squared plus 4xy plus y squared. Alright, combining all like terms, I'm going to look for, here's my x squareds. There's one x squared term, looking. There's another x squared term, so I'm going to get 4x squared, and those terms are gone. Alright, now I see xy's. I got 5xy's, 4xy's, 5xy's, 4xy's. Add these together. Since they're like terms, you just have to add the numbers in front. 5 and 5 is 10, and 4 and 4 is 8. 10 and 8 is 18xy, and I'm done with these terms. And now I search. The only terms I have left is y squared and a y squared. And when you add a y squared and a y squared, it's just 1 plus 1, which is 2y squared. And that's the perimeter. And that would be the answer for the bonus.